Hi guys, good afternoon. Welcome to the Sawalha-Adderleys live with no warning, no notifications, no alerts. It just seems like it's breaking news. I just wanted to say, firstly, for anyone who follows the channel, any of our members, thank you for all of your messages regarding our daughter who's currently in hospital. I'm just waiting at home basically for the call to go in and collect them. So thank you very much. Anyway, that's sort of personal matters, but thank you for all of your really lovely messages. Maddie is, she's injured, but she's fine. So thank you very much. Thank you for all of your messages. She's just in pain. She's hurt, injured her leg. So the reason I've gone live is just because news is breaking just as we speak. And I looked at my computer screen and I thought, whoa, okay, well, let's try and maybe update you guys. Various news sources are reporting that Iranian missiles have been fired towards Qatar. They've been heard, missiles and explosions and flares have been heard and seen over Doha. Qatar closed its airspace temporarily earlier this afternoon. Thank you again. Thank you for all of your messages. Thanks, guys. But this is the latest news story. Explosions in Doha after credible Iranian threat against largest US military base in the Middle East. Explosions have been heard over Doha in Qatar after reports of a credible threat. The other newspapers or news outlets are reporting that Iran has launched a salvo of ballistic missiles. Several missile interceptions have been conducted by air defense systems in Qatar. So this could be although the blasts are big, and although the threat and they're firing at the Americans, this is why this is quite significant. This is obviously the first of, or maybe the only retaliatory move that Iran could make in response to the bombing at the weekend. So there was a belief that Iran would carry out some kind of retaliatory attack. The Qataris have closed their airspace. Tehran has threatened repeatedly US military bases around the Middle East. In Qatar, the Al Udeid Air Base houses about 10,000 troops and hosts approximately 40 military aircraft. Sorry. The base is in the desert outside of Doha. Earlier today, The Sun reported that US and UK embassies in Qatar warned American and British citizens to shelter. So although this is happening as we speak, flares seen over Qatar, this doesn't necessarily mean, this could be, what's the word? This could be saber rattling. This could be a sort of symbolic firing of missiles, but it is a significant detail that for the first time in any of this conflict, thank you so much again. Thank you for all of your messages around Maddie. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Thank you. It is horrible seeing your child in pain, that's for sure. Not unexpected, these missiles, not unexpected at all. But yeah, so it's breaking again across everywhere. Iran has launched, they're saying 6 missiles have been fired at the biggest base in the Middle East. Obviously, all eyes are currently on Truth Social. He's pretty damn sharpish, isn't he, off the bat? I do want to share with you a post that, whilst a little bit more info kind of comes in as it kicks off Caribbean in the Middle East. I'm just going to find you... I hope I've uploaded it. Here we go. Donald Trump posted this earlier today. Did I hear former President Medvedev from Russia casually throwing around the N-word, nuclear, and saying that he and other countries would supply nuclear warheads to Iran? Did he really say that, or is it just a figment of my imagination? If he did say that, and if confirmed, please let me know immediately. The N-word should not be treated so casually. I agree with him that the N-word, as in nuclear, shouldn't be treated so casually, which kind of speaks to why they possibly shouldn't have dropped bunker bombs onto Fordow and the various kind of, nuclear installations in Iran. I guess that's why Putin's the boss By the way, if anyone thinks our hardware was great over the weekend, far and away the strongest and best equipment we have, 20 years advanced over the pack, is our nuclear submarines. They're the most powerful and lethal weapons ever built, and just launched the 30 Tomahawks. All hit their mark perfectly. I mean, he's literally got his toys out, isn't he? He's doing that thing that we used to do as boys, where you go, wah, 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 wah. It's just dangerous, isn't it? They just go like, look, my missile is bigger than your missile. It's so tedious. It really is so tedious. So yeah, Iran has fired 6 missiles. UK bases in Kuwait, Iraq, and Bahrain have all sounded their air raid sirens shortly after the Al Udeid base was targeted by missiles. It comes as Iran have warned the US that they will directly pay. Iranian state media warned that up to 50,000 American soldiers would be returned to Washington in coffins, which is, all of this is grisly language, and it's a grisly prospect. But once again, you can't help but feel America poked the bear. And I wonder, does anyone else wonder, that actually all of this kind of shadow play of dropping a bomb, bunker bombs, waiting for Iran to react, at the point that Iran reacts, who thinks Trump might then be able to enact the "we're being invaded and attacked" kind of clause? Thank you so much, Jennifer Miles. Thank you. And of course, you know, Nadia isn't here tonight at the moment, so I'm awaiting a call, heading back to the hospital. No, absolutely, Reese. I'm sat here waiting, and it seemed odd that as I'm waiting to go back to the hospital, oh crikey, Iran are firing missiles as we speak at the Americans. So I think Trump will do something. Let's just do it's always interesting, isn't it, to do a refresh on Donald Trump's Truth Social, because he's quite ADHD, so he does kind of fire off, doesn't he, quite quickly with his messages. In other news, Yvette Cooper, as we predicted earlier today, has vowed to ban Palestine action under anti-terrorism laws. She chose to ignore warnings from the group's lawyers that doing so would be unlawful, dangerous, and poorly thought out. In a statement, Yvette Cooper in the House of Commons said a draft prescription order would be laid in Parliament on the 30th of June. I think that gives everyone another sort of 5 days, doesn't it? 6-7 days before potentially supporting them. You'll be declared a terrorist supporter. I agree, MeTube. If all Iran does is damage the runway at Doha base, then Trump may leave it at that. I think what I'm hoping for, and what we're all hoping for from this retaliation, is that it's retaliatory, but it's kind of symbolic. And it's not actually got any, it doesn't have any sort of material heft behind it. I.e., it doesn't kill anyone, it doesn't hurt anyone, but at least Iran can say to those hardliners in Iran who want them to wipe America off the face of the earth, they can say, well, look, you know, we fired a couple of missiles in right-ish sort of direction. I mean, we did talk about this when Israel and Iran had that first contretemps, where they fired a couple of salvos at each other. It does feel remarkably like waving your todger in the air, like you just don't care. So you know, let's hope it's that. I do think this is many people who support Palestine action are you know, really quite horrified by what feels like an increasing restriction on protest. I mean, I think the feeling is that, as she describes it, it was a disgraceful attack on Bryce Norton in the early hours of the morning on Friday, the 20th of June. I noticed no one in the discussion about Palestine action's sabotaging of the planes at Bryce Norton, no one's asked this question. Why? Yes, Palestine action, you know, committed an offence, but isn't there some culpability for the Ministry of Defence for having a fence that was easily get overable with a scooter and a bag for life? I mean, you know, in a weird way, whilst of course it's like with October the 7th, you've got the perpetrators, and that's one side of it, but then you've also got to start asking questions of how was it allowed to happen? And I guess if you've got an open gate and it's easy to get in, and you know that there are protest groups, why wouldn't they do it? Do you know what I mean? So no one's sort of asked that question. No one's asked, well, maybe the security wasn't up to scratch. Maybe, you know, someone somewhere on that side of things failed. So anyway, but in terms of the Palestine Action news, Owen Jones has posted this. When anti-terror laws were introduced, opponents said they'd be abused. Making Palestine Action a terrorist organization akin to ISIS is deranged behavior. And I have to confess, I do think it is. When you see who making Palestine Action a terrorist group, who they then sit alongside, it's odd. Making Palestine Action a terrorist organization akin to ISIS is deranged behavior. History will damn how opponents of genocide were branded terrorists while war criminals were armed and fated. I agree with Owen. Let's just see what Jeremy Corbyn's got to say. The White Lotus, just another news. The White Lotus star Amy Lou Wood has received death threats for standing in solidarity with Palestine. Take it from me, it's not an easy thing standing with Palestine if you have a public profile of any form. I think you know what I'm talking about. This is Jeremy Corbyn. The government's proposal to prescribe Palestine Action as a terrorist organization is as absurd as it is authoritarian. I will give her lots of hugs, guys. Thank you so much. It represents a draconian assault on the democratic right to protest and is a disgraceful attempt to hide the real meaning of violence, the mass murder of Palestinians. We are going to go back to the Doha, QATAR story. The UK government is complicit in genocide, and we see this latest move for what is an act of desperation from a government trying to shield itself from accountability. We will keep campaigning for an end. For those who aren't in the members area, Maddie is in hospital. She's quite badly injured her leg. She's with her mum. I was in there earlier. You're only allowed one adult or carer alongside her, so I've returned home and I'm basically on standby. And then Iran attacked an American base. But she's good. I've just spoken to her and she's good. Thank you so much. Jeremy Corbyn finally says, we will keep campaigning for an end to military cooperation with Israel, and we will not rest until we have brought about the only path to peace, freedom, and justice for the Palestinian people. Okay, let me ask a simple question here. Who agrees with Palestine Action being prescribed a terrorist group? MeTube, very strong words there from you, MeTube. Yvette Cooper probably looking for ways to retrospectively prescribe the suffragettes. The problem here is there are countless examples. Breaking news, hang on. There are countless examples of protest groups that have been crucial to the evolution of human rights. And I'm thinking of the ANC in South Africa, the suffragettes. You could argue some of the climate change people, people who've had to engage in sort of extreme measures, not because they've wanted to, but because, someone made a really valid point today. Despite all of the peace marches, despite millions and millions of people protesting, and this has to be held at the government's door, really, millions of people have pleaded, have shouted, have screamed. Not as many have been going on the streets justifying the genocide. When you've got that many people in opposition to something that's going on and our policy on it, and you still don't budge at all, or you mealy-mouthed offer a few adjectives like concerning or concerned, you've got to ask yourself a question. If no one is ever heard, where else do they go to be heard? And that's not promoting or even encouraging the idea that one should go towards extreme measures. But you can't be surprised. In microcosm, it's the same idea behind, in a sense, radicalizing people in places like South Africa and Gaza, where if people feel they have no voice, if people feel they can enact no change, if people feel that despite everything they do that observes the letter of the law, nothing changes, but they feel powerfully about this, and there are so many, it's not like just a fringe niche group. What are people supposed to do? What are people supposed to do? Okay, just here we go. The Times is breaking the news. Let me just see if I can pull that up. What we need to know: explosions have been reported over Doha, the Qatari capital, after threats of Iranian attacks. US scaled back its presence at the airbase prior to the attack. US and Britain have been scaling back their presence at Al Udeid for days, which is situated southwest of Doha. It's not immediately clear whether Iran had warned of the attack, perhaps hoping to avoid casualties that would invite severe US retaliation. Iranian armed forces have announced, or did at the same time about 5 minutes ago, a devastating airbase attack. I don't know how devastating that would be. White House is monitoring threats to airbase in Qatar. The White House and the US Defense Department are aware of and closely monitoring potential threats to Al Udeid airbase in Qatar. BBC, for what it's worth, Trump is in the West Wing, it's being reported 5 minutes ago, as the National Security Council meeting begins. Now, why this is kind of a crucial moment and why this is a bit of a tinderbox moment is, depending on what sort of day Trump's having and what sort of headspace he's in, he may see any firing of anything. He won't care if it just, as you say, Mitri, just hits the tarmac and blows up a bit of, what do you call it, airstrip. He won't mind that, but he might mind that they fired anything at all. So I'm just double checking updates on Maddie. In which case, this might just be exactly what he's looking for. I mean, in a weird way, Iran are kind of in a tricky situation. If this is a gesture fire of rockets or missiles to kind of make it look like they're kind of cross with America and they're willing to do something, this could massively backfire, because this could be the very thing that allows Trump to go in hard yet again. Who thinks he's going to respond? Who thinks Trump will, regardless of whether any damage or deaths occur from these missiles, who thinks Trump is going to use this as an opportunity to attack again? It's debatable, Pink Rose, as to whether Iran have hit a US base. They've certainly fired towards a US base. Just pulling up the latest report from The Guardian. Qatar has said, because of course there's a country called Qatar involved. Qatar has said it reserves the right to respond after an Iranian attack on US military base. It said it can respond directly and in accordance with international law after Iran. I mean, it's weird, isn't it, how everyone's quoting international law? And Qatar is absolutely right to quote international law, but the only people who aren't allowed to quote international law are Iran, who were hit. It's weird, isn't it? Missiles launched at base housing Iran says it's, yeah. So, I mean, really, we're not entirely sure what the damage is, but I think what we are looking at is, what will Donald Trump's response be? How severe will it be? And I've gone back onto his Truth Social. His last and his latest post is still the one about Medvedev, because of course Iran met with Putin. Only France, says MeTube, has so far called the US attacks illegal. You're absolutely right. And that leads me to this quote, which I have to confess, for any of our German followers, deeply disappointing. There is no reason, says Merz to the Chancellor, German Chancellor, there is no reason to criticize what America did at the weekend. What? None at all. Absolutely none at all. Like there's been no reason to criticize Israel. Yes, it is not without risk, but leaving things as they were was not an option either. I mean, half of Europe and the UK are literally bent over and ready to go. I mean, it's just, I think someone said earlier today, the absolute, just 1 second. Kiki? Oh, just 1 second. Apologies. What was I saying? They're all hoping for a reason to push for regime change. That's my worry. Yeah, so I think all of Europe, absolute shambles, absolutely shameful. Their inability to push against anything, to push against anyone. Okay, I'm just going back to The Guardian. In a minute, I'm going to go to Al Jazeera. No, so Israel have been attacking Tehran again all day, which is not surprising. Iran have also announced that it feels it can supply weaponry and can conduct this war for a good 2 years. That, again, we don't know how much of that will be propaganda. They'll be wanting to break the resolve of the Israeli population. Fears in Iran. Sorry, it's because it's a breaking news story. Everywhere's kind of obviously in a tailspin trying to pull it all together. Let me just find, I'm just going to pull up Al Jazeera. Still waiting to see if anything lands on Trump's Truth Social. 51 seconds ago, Qatar strongly condemns Iranian attack on US base. There are some photos of flares. I'm not too sure if they have their own kind of Iron Dome situation. As I say, the Iran Revolutionary Guard confirms the attack. I think what's most worrying is the fact that old Trumpy boy is in the what's it called? The Situation Room. He's in a Situation Room. Did anyone see the photographs that were released after the last time he was in the Situation Room? I mean, boy, was he. I mean, there isn't a single moment where that guy isn't aware of where the camera is. And he was just walking around, still wearing his fucking MAGA hat. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a baseball cap. But when you're ordering the end of the planet, really? So what happens in there? They order pizza and they decide what to do. He's sitting in that room now and has the power to do anything. So if he's having a bad day, if he's feeling like, because Russia have said, this guy Medvedev said, anyone will supply Iran with I mean, he might go fucking completely nuts. He might go completely rogue, just like Israel. He might just become a rogue element. Let's see if he's actually. We haven't got any sense or report on whether what damage has actually been done. So let's have a look. Explosion seen in sky over Doha. Greg Stoker breaking now. Iran launching ballistic missiles against the Al Udeid airbase. The UK is privately saying, not publicly saying, that the attacks on nuclear facilities are not illegal. Yeah, we have footage in Qatar. You can see here. Let me actually. I can very quickly rip that one and play that one for you. Obviously, this is an evolving news story, so apologies for having to go off beam and do all of this. But let me send you this. This is footage taken in the sky above Doha. So let me just do this, and it will very quickly just pop up. Here you go, Qatar.
Allahu Akbar. Adam.
Quite a lot of flares, isn't it? I mean, let's not beat around the bush. One of the things we absolutely now know is that an absolute rerun of the Iraq war is on the cards. We are absolutely sat on a precipice between Iran, however much damage or not Iran has conducted with these missiles, whether they're just a gesture, whether they're symbolic, whether it's a sort of saber rattling to save face, like that first volley of missiles that were fired at Israel back in October. Really, the odd thing about all of this is more unpredictable than Iran is Trump. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, Iran have said for the last 24 hours, we're going to respond, we're going to react. Americans have had time to kind of, you know, the one guy in all of this, I mean, Netanyahu, I would say Netanyahu's just monstrous, but nothing he does surprises me. He just wants to kill as many Arabs as possible and compromise every nation around him so that Israel can be the big I am with its nuclear weapons. Trump, though, is so unpredictable. I mean, in one Truth Social post, he can have you lurching from left to right, can't he? So so as I'm about to kind of sign off, we have nothing from the big Donald himself. I'm sure this is going to evolve quite massively. We're still waiting, and we're kind of in a waiting kind of game to see what the damage is in Qatar, Doha, and at this base. It'll be interesting to see if any other missiles are fired out. We won't obviously go live for every single one. I was just waiting. I'm kind of waiting to kind of go back to the hospital. So whatever happens, I've got a feeling I'll probably be live again, or we might be live again around 11 o'clock. And the No Name Sunday show obviously requires me and Nats to be here. And that will be tomorrow night now at 8 p.m. I will extend all of your lovely messages to Maddie. Thank you so much. And yeah, you know, keep your eyes peeled and your ears to the ground. Is that right? Oh, hang on. What's this? Breaking news. Hang on. We could just have a breaking. Oh no, that's something very, very unimportant. And just meanwhile, the Donald still in the Situation Room hasn't got his hand on his handset yet. All right, guys, stay safe. And as I say, we'll pick this up again later today. All right, guys, thanks.